Good evening, everybody. Tonight, it is Wednesday, the 25th of September, and this is episode 154 of So What's Been Happening. Tonight, it is finals edition, grand final for some in the AFL, prelim final in the NRL. So exciting times, very much so. Tonight, we kick off, or the title of the show was One King and Only One Queenie. So what I mean by that is the king will be crowned come Saturday night in the AFL, but also the king has been crowned with Patrick Cripps. So we'll touch on that very quickly with the Brownlow. But we also want to touch on the queen that's been a queen to this show as well, our great friend Eloise Thetford, a.k.a. Queenie, who has an album launch tomorrow night at the Northcote Social Club. So we get a chance to have a chat to Queenie in the next couple of weeks, which is great. Really exciting, actually, to catch up with her again. But just before we do, we are going to play a little bit of what you can expect for Queenie. So the details of the gig are here. It is next tomorrow. Special guests Millie Strange and also Hogwash. So get along to that one. And there's a few that form part of this tour. So there's been a couple already and one still to come for the Townfolk Festival and also the Queenscliff Music Festival. There's a bit of a mouthful for tonight, but all right, we're going to touch on this quick video and play a little bit of our great friend Queenie, and then we're going to talk footy.
Walked my way into the sun. It got so hot I could be drunk. Lead markers in my face, a trail that can't be traced. A cursed little mama crying in the corner. Pulling out her skin 'cause she hates the one she's in. She's screaming at the sky, can't figure out why. You can ride us to a cross, come on, eating diamonds, get cuts, really, don't believe in nothing. You can ride us to a cross. my veins is dripping from these chains. I keep tallies.
There you go. Get along to that one tomorrow night at Northcote Social Club for the launch of Queenie's new album, New Malt. There you go. All right, let's talk footy. It is time. AFL Grand Final time. Welcome back, Lovey.
How are you, mate?
Very good, mate. For a Wednesday night, couple of days before the big game, day off on Friday. It's all an exciting time.
Yeah, it's tell you what, it's as an Essendon supporter, it's been harder and harder to stay tuned to the football this time of year. But it's always good. It's always fun. Still mixed about the day off, the day before the grand final. I think it's great from just from recognising that it is the best sport in Australia. Give it the day off, but at the same time, benign businesses, I think, particularly in the city, probably would prefer not to have it as a public holiday. But big game coming up. I'm actually looking forward to it because I think it will be closer than what people probably think. It's probably my interest in it is I reckon it will be a lot closer than people think.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll touch on that in a second. And I think we're going to tune into where Cuz is. Who knows where Cuz is tonight? I think
we've got a mystery tour, have we?
Yeah, the magical mystery tour. Here's a shot of
God.
Cuz out in the sky. Who knows where Cuz is tonight?
Is Cuz riding the bike or is he in the basket? We're not sure.
Well, it's an interesting question. Whether he's where's he phoning? That's the question. And here's another shot of Cuz ready to go out.
He's waiting.
Movement at the station. Movement at the station, they say. All right, let's tune in and find out what it's all about. And I'm sure he's going to give us about a minute of his time, no doubt. Welcome back, Snoozer.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we both?
Good, mate. Good.
Sounding very good in the Mercedes.
Jesus, hang on. Where are you? You in a tunnel? You're in a toilet?
No, I'm in my vehicle. In my vehicle at the moment. Just in between catching up with a new friend, we'll say.
Looks like a clean. Well, we can't really see. It's a little bit of a Queen album cover moment, actually. Just enough light to just capture.
Exactly right. Just get the mood right for you, boys.
You've had the haircut, a shave. It's got all the gear out tonight.
Is that still the Toyota Yaris that you've got there, mate? What's the go?
No, the Yaris that went to God a little while ago. I've got the Toyota the Toyota Camry now, Lovey. Had for a little while.
Wow. What colour? Black as well?
Yeah, black, mate. Just to fit the mood, mate.
Is it a slick-looking black Camry? My God.
I wouldn't say it was sleek or slick. Maybe slack would be the more appropriate term, I would have thought.
What colour's the upholstery, given we're literally in daylight, we're in moonlight?
Well, it is the
it's burgundy,
colour,
isn't it?
mate.
It's burgundy.
To quite the great Rolling Stones song, "Paint It Black," mate. It's black as well.
You might need to invest in a couple of interior lights, mate. Just paradise by the dashboard light tonight.
Got the lights on, mate. Is it better?
There you go. That's better. Well
sure,
played.
it's not one of those shag. What were those things called? The Sandman?
Yeah,
You're missing the curtains. Missing the curtains on the panel van. Sounds like that's what you need tonight.
How much back in the day when you were a young bloke before you got your first license did we all want to drive a Sandman? They were just it was just almost a rite of passage, wasn't it?
Yeah,
well, it had to be a Sandman because if you had the big Ford black panelled people mover van with all the black mirrors out, I think that would have been a bit of a different story, right? So
yeah, it was a bit Hannibal Lecter that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
I've got someone else quickly just before we do, Cuz. I know you haven't got too long for us, but I thought we'd cut in.
I'm here for the whole show. Shut up, Woodbird.
Oh, beautiful! Look out, late night Larry.
So you've been kicked out of your home.
Yeah. Something you got to tell us, Cuz?
What's that? No, you two are normally the first to know that sort of good news.
Righto, we're just going to tune into one of our other good mates and find out where he's up to, Dave Cosma. Here we go.
Kicking the footy at the foot of Uluru. We're kicking the footy at the foot of Uluru. We're kicking the footy at the foot of Uluru. We're kicking the footy at the foot of Uluru. We're kicking the footy at the foot of Uluru. We're kicking the.
Great to see the great man, Dave. And
How good?
Charlie.
How good is that with his kids? That is fantastic.
Great special moment. Apparently, it's a little fresh up there. But, it's pouring rain. It's an interesting time to be up at the Alice, that's for sure. But be a great part of the.
A good friend of the show spoke to me today. He doesn't like to appear on the show, but he is a very important part of the show. Mr. Mark Burke, I spoke to today, and he sounds well. So cheer out of Berkey. Be nice to have you on at some stage, Mark.
Yes, he's one of the internet sufferers. We need to pigeonhole a few of those. We're not talking
Rusty?
internet tonight, are we, Lovey?
No.
Oh no. Now I know we wanted to talk about the pending grand final on Saturday between the Lions and the Swannies, but mate, I spoke to the great man to your left the other day, and he's got possibly the best Lovey losers coming up of all time.
Oh, there's a sneak peek. Are we running with that tonight, Lovey?
We could be. What was the topic again, mate? I've cracked the shits about a lot of things this week.
I know you have. It can be depending on the day.
Text me the topic. Text me the topic.
Righto. Just before we do, we're gonna kick off before we talk AFL Grand Final. We're just going to touch on the result of the Brownlow, mate. The Brownlow. Yeah, thanks for blacking out on us, cuz. You got to leave the light on, mate. There's a secret for tonight. Or maybe you got to turn the light off, cuz. Depend what you're doing, but we'll see how that goes. That pans out. So Brownlow. Surprise, Lovey? Surprise?
No. I am. If it's the topic I think that Cuz is going to text me about, it's probably where my rant was going, though. I think a valid winner. I just don't think the votes really carry or marry up to what the reality was of the season for quite a number of those players. So once Cuz sorts his technology out, he can let me know what it was I was ranting about. Like I said, there's a few things, but I do think there needs to be a bit of a review on the Brownlow. If we want to keep it in the umpire's hands, okay, so it's not the topic that I was pissed off about with Cuz. That's good. So the Brownlow itself, I mean, we've always known it's been hijacked by midfielders for a number of years now. We get it. That's fine. And I saw a graphic today, the All-Australian team, and 6 of the bottom 7 players that polled votes from the All-Australian team are defenders, for instance. And I just don't think that's right. I just don't think the umpires, and, you know, they can only see what's in front of them, and that's the point. Most of the time, the ball's through the midfield. We get it. But to have 45 votes, is it 12 best ons? The revelation that the umpires no longer see the votes in the stats in the last 2 years straight after a game. I'm not a massive believer in stats, but I do believe it gives you a bit of an indicator as to how well other players have gone, particularly outside the midfield. So I found it pretty farcical the other night. The fact that Dacos was 2 votes better than anyone else in the history as well, and yet didn't get near the Brownlow. I said the umpires were quite lazy in their voting.
Yep.
I stand by that because they literally just see these top players at each club and they pretty much just go, oh, he looks like he got a bit of it today. Let's give him 3. That doesn't hold true the whole way through. The guy that was most ripped off that night was Bontempelli. Absolutely ripped apart. I don't know if we've got any dog supporters that follow this podcast, and if they do, they should jump on and absolutely scream from the rooftops from the other night because he was at least 10, 12 votes short. Easy. And if they're trying to tell me that Treloar, the umpires are trying to tell us that Treloar had a better year than Bontempelli, you're absolutely talking shit. So I think, I think it's a great award, but that's just even 29, only 5 years ago, 29 would have got you nearly a Brownlow medal as well. So where's this all going? I don't think Nick Dacos, they didn't even make finals, and he's polled 38 votes. I don't get that. There must be other players on the ground, surely. I know Cripper had a good year at Carlton, but, Curnow stepped up in a few games. Quite a few other blokes, played well, and he got 3 voters even in some losses. So I just don't think that's the right way the Brownlow should be going. And I think if the umpires had better stats tools available to them straight after a game, I think you would have had a different result.
Yeah. All right. Let's cross over to Night Fever to give us his reaction.
I like that. I'm with Lovey. Look, very valid and very deserved winner. But honestly, to get 46 out of I think a possible 69 votes or 45, he wasn't that good. He got votes in games where one, they didn't win the game, and he got 15. I think he had 15 possession in one game, got 3 votes. They didn't win the game. So to quite Lovey summed it up beautifully. It's lazy umpiring. We've come in after the game. Oh, yeah, Cripper had a headband on. He had a pretty good game. We'll give him 2. Yeah, Nick Dacos was on fire early. They didn't win, but, geez, he got a lot of the footy, so we'll give him votes. The Bontempelli and Treloar scenario, no disrespect to Adam Treloar, him and Bontempelli aren't in the same conversation.
Yeah.
So
it's an interesting result. Do
you take it off the umpires, though? Then as I saw in the paper today and on other sort of channels and sort of discussions, that you take off the umpires, but does it then become a media award? So does it lose its tarnish? But I think in a way it's lost its tarnish a bit already. It's become a midfielder's medal, and no one else, despite what year they have or impact they have in a game, can seem to get near it.
Yep. I think ever since that day, Greg Williams got 44 possessions but didn't get a single vote, and the umpires clearly had it in for him that day because he must have got off or done something wrong. And ever since that day, the umpires' voting has been scrutinised, and I get it, I understand it. It is best and fairest, and that should never change. That should never ever change, and it should stay in the umpire's hands because that's the uniqueness of the Brownlow. However, all I'm saying is, you need to give the umpire some decent tools to work with. So give them the stats. Even if you outline highlights, who won each stat column, who cares? Give them the stats. Give them the 3-2-1s that a couple of the radio stations and the rest have also provided. Maybe do that. I don't know. But to ask the umpires 10 minutes after they've busted a gut for 20 kilometres and then don't give them a single tool, and then they just go and make a judgment. Well, of course they're going to go midfielder because that's all they see the whole game.
Exactly right.
It's pretty much all they see the whole game.
And that's how they're taught to umpire in that sort of corridor from sort of back pocket along the wing to the back pocket. They don't go out of a certain area. So, of course, as you said, when they're fatigued, it's a quick question. Who are our top 3? Who do you reckon? Oh, yeah, and it's consensus. I know.
You know what? This is just more dumb shit. This is more dumb shit from Andrew Dillon and Lauren Kane. 2 people have got no idea on the actual game, on the concept of the game, on the feel for the game. They're just corporate. They're just corporate idiots. That's all they are, those 2. And I'm sick and tired of them. I was getting tired of the AFL already, but a little bit. But the way they've run the comp the last 2 years, it makes Gil McLaughlin look like a fucking saint. So, this is just more bumbling bullshit from those 2.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I'm not sure if we're running with a lose it now. Just depends what the topic was. Thanks for the hook up there, Cuz, to actually let me know behind the scenes, but that's all right. I'll work out. Are we running with it now before we talk the game or the final?
I think it's a good one. I think he was in a good mood with it the other day. That's all I'll say. No pressure on Lovey though. His call.
Righto.
His segment.
Right.
His call.
Roll the tape. Here we go.
What's gonna make our friend Lovey mad today? Lovey loses it. Lovey loses it.
Those sunglasses.
I'll tell you fucking what. It's yeah. Look, public transport. I'm done. It's a fucking disgrace. I sat at Auburn Station for an hour. I was meant to be on an express train yesterday afternoon, and there was a trespass on the track. Everyone's come across it, all the rest of it, no problem. So apparently this dickhead was at East Camberwell, 2 stations up from where I was, and it was on a stanchion. If anyone doesn't realise what that is, it's like a massive box that controls all of the signals and all the rest of it. So this dickless idiot decides to just jump up on the bloody stanchion and just stay there. Now, where we're at with it's not just public transport and our inability to cope with trespassers. First of all, if you are trespassing on the tracks, seek help, and I mean that deliberately. Seek some help. There's a lot of options for you, but this guy was just a clown. Just wanted to disrupt everything. So the fact that we've got public transport that's still susceptible to that these days is just completely pathetic. Instead of putting all of our funds and everything into other rail routes that no one's going to use and helping our union mates, why don't we actually have proper police forcing across all of the main things that we have to rely upon every single day? The other thing is, so the coppers couldn't apparently touch this bloke and pull him down off the stanchion. I say bullshit. Get him off. Get them off the bloody tracks, because the longer you keep him there, the more security risk he actually is to everyone else around him. And then you're creating massive risks further down the tracks, everyone all the way back into Flinders Street. It was an absolute disgrace. To be stuck there for an hour in 2024 is just absolutely pathetic. I just, and some of the mental pygmies that are that were in the carriage with me as well. Just complete that was the other thing I was pissed off with, is just people have lost their ability to respect the person next to them. Just coughing all over you, feet on the seat that's right next to you. So I literally shoved the feet off of someone that put their foot next to me. I fucking gave it to them. I'd had enough. Where are we going? Like, where's this state going with all this sort of shit? So, we just need to put our funding, put our money into the places that people find that are critical for use. We all know about the issues with AMBOs and the rest of it. But my God, mate, I tell you what, I was ready to just give it the old Michael Douglas falling down treatment by the end of that hour. I wanted to just get home. I just wanted to get home. And we've got these idiots that, just want to jump up on things, and our coppers aren't allowed to use force. They were allowed to use force during 2021 with the rubber bullets on people looking for their freedom, but fuck me, if they can't get one bloke down off some sort of little apparatus, then what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, over.
Where are we at? Where are we at?
There's a question. Let's throw that out. Where are we at? Speaking of where he's at, Cuz, Moonlight, Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Yes, I can see Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
You are the man who travels by train.
It's a schmozzle. It's a schmozzle. Like there must be a way. Like, we're talking about, it didn't go super well. Those poor people stuck up in space. We can get people up on the moon every second day, but we can't get a system of public transport where people are safe. And when I mean people safe, I mean the people using it, the people who are running it, the people driving it, whatever. Just the lack of common sense in relation to this is, it's dumbfounding, to be honest.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Berkey's raising a pretty valid question, because as a Collingwood supporter, it's irrelevant. He wants to know, when is the granny? I thought he was actually asking, where is the granny? But my cuz will probably tell us. Where is the granny, cuz?
It is at the home football. It is at the home of the football, mate. The MCG, mate. The People's Ground, as they call it.
And interesting enough, there's a couple of backgrounds there. I'm going to ask you a very simple question.
Yep.
Do we go day, twilight, or night? And there's the night. What's the spectacle?
With this, not broken, don't fix it. Day.
Yeah, I reckon just Let's have a crack at a full night.
But that said, though, the pressure now, whether you like it or not, now that we're getting international guests and we're making it a bigger thing, to get to the bigger audience, you've got to look at least a twilight.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where it's
Yep.
very much heading. I think this is probably going to be the last full day, Granny.
Yep.
But let's talk to the woke police and let's find out. Lovey, I'm sure, have an opinion on this one.
Again, more mental pygmyism. It's just an absolute. Why is this even a topic? Is it just the penny pinchers? Is it just the if one thing that's been torn down on us, it's tradition. There's so many different things and so many aspects of our life that our tradition's been broken apart from us because the new generation doesn't like its history, and therefore the new generation wants to have something different. Well, guess what? Sometimes you just can't fucking have it because it won't fucking work.
Yep.
A night grand final in Melbourne is not going to fucking work. It will not work.
Not with our great weather.
Why do we want it? So we can have the band that comes on after the game? Are we trying to still? Are we now trying to copy the NRL? What an absolute crock of shit! Yeah, let the NRL have a night grand final. Why do we want to be the same? We're trying to Americanise so much shit as well. It's just pathetic. So, if we want to act like the NRL, let's do it. Let's go to a night grand final. Let's see how pathetic it looks from an AFL perspective. For me, the AFL has always been a day grand final. Always has been, always will be.
Yep.
And you get some of the best football played during the day. The ability for a day game and the skill sets that are on display are far better than what they are at night time. And, a lot more kids can actually be watching the thing. Now, you have a night grand final, kids are in bed. Whether you like it or not, and whether people believe that or not, we run a family. I can guarantee you the kids will be in bed, a lot of them. So, for me, it's a day grand final. Why? Everything else is night during the year in the AFL.
Yeah, there's plenty of night games to get to.
It's actually now. It's actually now more unique and more attractive for it to be in the day because it's one of the rare day games that you have on TV.
Yeah, look, it probably ruins those moments that they have with the big Dreamtime game. That's such a really great night game, and then they're going to go and put that effectively up against the grand final, which obviously the grand final is always going to be the great stage, but it's kind of a case of careful what you wish for, AFL, because I don't actually think you compete with the NRL as far as a spectacle of what they do at night. So why would you compete against it? They haven't product you got.
Not a single year have they had better entertainment if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And look who they've got. Look who they've got coming in this year. The little rainbow girl. What's her name? Katy Perry.
Woke.
The most unrelating pop star, whatever you could possibly have to our code. It's just dumb. It is just dumb.
Yep.
Great call, Marky. I agree.
It's a good, well-introduced Mark Burke. Taylor, Pink, Looper, Katie Sheeran. It's well done. And I, Dave Cosmer, I agree, mate. Let's get Charles Jenkins there. Get Chuck. Get could have been champions. Get Greg Champion up there. Get our big fella Mike Brady while he's still kicking. I'm sure they're going to drag him out. They'll probably drag a tape of him out now.
You know who could play before the game starts? It's called the VFL.
Well, yeah.
It's called the Reserves Grand Final.
What a great grand final that was too. Just touch on that.
Imagine if that was played before the AFL Grand Final. Everyone would be pumped. Everyone's ready to go. Yeah, it's Werribee versus Southport, but people just love their footy.
Yeah.
People just want their football, and the people that are going on Saturday, if you entice them to get to the ground at 12 o'clock or 11:30 for the they would sit there and watch it, and they would probably adopt a team, and Werribee would probably get that much money out of it, and they'd be a much better club for it. So is Southport. It's money for jam for local VFL clubs, for those VFL clubs.
Yep.
You're propping up your second tier, and you're propping up your second tier without even trying. So, these again, I don't know, Andrew Dillon and what's her name? They just got to Lauren Kane.
Yep. Yeah, you can put on one hand the amount of decent performances we've had in the last couple of years.
I'll give you two.
Yeah, probably Kiss and Robbie Williams. I'll give you those two only. Killers probably as well, but in amongst that, that's about it.
The Killers were better at night.
Correct, yeah. So they're just
After
good
the
for
game.
that. And the Grand Prix does it really well. They do the same kind of thing. They do an after match function or an after race function. That's when it should happen. The party's on.
By all means, go for it.
What would G up a crowd even more is, the 18s play first, the TAC Cup, then they come on and they've got the reserves. And it was like the good old days of the 80s, 90s. That's how it always was. Don't stuff with the product. And I think they're chasing their tail. They've fought this battle for years and, well, let's face it, probably AFLW probably isn't going to be the answer to put before it. Although it's going to happen. I can see it coming. Right now, I think we've got a score of Carlton playing live in the AFLW. Carlton are 9 points, and North Melbourne are 66 points. So an absolute rout going on out there in the cold at Icon Park. Now, I'm not against the belting in a grand final. I mean, but this is just a normal round-around game. So it can happen, but I don't think the spectacle's there. I'd be very interested to see what the kind of crowd is like. But I fear where AFLW is at now. They've tried to expand too quick in the last couple of years, and I think it's at their detriment.
When do people grow up and realise if you're going to grow up and expand it that quickly, you probably have to now align it with the men and their season? You're just going to have to. You've got to piggyback off the men as best you possibly can. Call me whatever you like on that, but the fact remains your product is no good, and you're going to have to piggyback off the bigger product and maybe start getting your revenue streams off the back of that. Because right now, I didn't even know that game was playing, and I'm a footy head.
Yeah.
I didn't know that game was playing. So for me, you could almost have the female grand final as a curtain raiser before the men's grand final. And if people protest and say they need their own grand final, don't kid yourselves. You're miles off it. You're years off it. So use the men's product to get your own product up and running. Why not? Correct.
To me, it'll only progress the game quicker. So hurry up and make the decision and stop procrastinating about it. Just get it done.
A lot more of these games they play midweek. If they were curtain raisers during the year for before men's games, they'll have a lot more people there and a lot more attraction, a lot more members.
Well, I totally agree. That's a starting point. How about you start there? Let's get a few of those games, half a dozen at least, in amongst the AFL schedule. Makes total sense, especially on some of those quieter games. At least give them a reason for a bit more of a crowd to come. But anyway, let's move to the big one, the big dance. This is the path. This is what got them there. 8 becomes 2. My maths is going great already, but now it's it's gone from 8 stories, Eddie Zammit, as you love this line, 8 stories, 1 ending, 2 stories, 1 ending. Very simple equation. It has become Sydney versus Brisbane, South Melbourne versus Fitzroy. Skin this one any way you like, but it's going to be a great game. It is only, to count it down, we are at 2 days, 17 hours, 52 minutes before the bounce of the ball. So it is at the MCG, 2:30 start, exactly when the grand final should be. The weather's going to be good. There's no reason this doesn't become the perfect outcome, in my opinion, Lovey. And there it is, the cover of the finals record. Interestingly, you can download a digital edition for $5, and you can get the bound book full of ads for $15, which is in the world that we're in now. Just give the things out. How much money can you going to make out of those paper things anyway? Just get them out and get them in kids' hands and let them keep a piece of history.
I mean, the fact that it's $15 is surprising. I thought it'd be a bit higher than that these days, but the fact it's only $15 is pretty good, actually. But I agree with you. If they're digital, you might as well do the whole digital thing. That's a smart thing to do. If you're going to hand them out, just hand them out, mate. I think with your grand finals, you should get one for free. That'd be mine.
Well, I think the digital, if you're going to go digigital subscriptions, it costs them nothing to put it on. They're already printing it anyway. Right. They just put it online. Let them download it for free. I think they even charge you to download your ticket these days.
Well, it only costs. If someone wants to try and print the digital, let them. It's still on their own cost at home anyway. So
it's a piece of paper there.
It's an interesting game coming up, isn't it? And
Sure
the
is.
fact that it's going to be great weather the next 2 days, along with the grand final day. Again, that's why it needs to be at the daytime. It's awesome. Love it. Dane Rampy's lucky to be on that cover. I would have thought they'd have at least 15 different Swannies that are probably more worthy on the cover, but good luck to him.
Might have put it early on that one.
And goalpost cheater, but that's okay. Not jilted at all. I was actually surprised. I was pleasantly surprised by Brisbane being in the grand final, to be honest. I thought the Cats would get through comfortably, but
Yeah.
Offline in our little group chat at halftime, I was hoping, like all hope, that Brisbane change up what they do, and they did in that second half. They just took the ball on. They handballed forward. They got Rayner into the game, and look what happens, And for this weekend, and I said it to you offline, I still think he's the most important player on the ground, Cam Rayner. Yeah, God, if he's going, I mean, the win percentage when he kicks 2+ goals a game is extraordinary. And I think you give him the football 20 times in a match, I reckon Brisbane have got this. All right, I really do. I really think he's that X factor. He's that guy that is hard to match up on when he's up and going, because he's taller than most of his opponents and he's good in the air.
Yep.
When he's on the ground, he's just an absolute fucking animal. So I don't know who Sydney have got that could go to him. Maybe Dane Rampy if he's forward, but I think he's stronger than Dane. He's probably quicker. So interesting stuff. Look, like I said at the start, I reckon it'll be a very tight game. I really do. Sydney deserved. Sorry.
Yeah, keep going. So
I was just going to say Sydney deserve to be favourites, but there's a few things that are in Brisbane's favour at the moment, the way I see it. So, what's your thoughts, mate?
It's going to start pretty close. I think, obviously, by the time the ball bounces, I think there's not going to be much in it on the betting angle. Anyway, I think it's fair to say that Sydney will start, I reckon, just favourites, but let's see. The really interesting, couple of interesting stats since first non-Victorian grand final since 2006. We'll still call it a Victorian final in amongst the hard loves of, if you ask Rusty, it's South Melbourne versus Fitzroy. So you got your wish, Rusty. The Kappa Cup, we're going to refer to it as. I think he definitely has anyway. Geez, he'd be getting a few cashies this week, old Warwick Kappa being played for both clubs. And yeah, just a few things at John Longmire's 5th grand final at the Swans. Amazing effort with his current record at 1-3. So he needs to, I think he just needs to get one more to, really push that immortality in respect of the legacy he's leaving there. There's a lot of respect for him as a coach. I mean, Fagan's been unbelievable. His ride is an interesting one as well. There's no one that really hates Fagan. So good luck to Fags and the Lions, and he's definitely got them up believing. It's all about belief. Once you get to the big dance and you get there, now it's all about what can you do on the day.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting when people talk about legacies. People still say Kevin Sheedy was ultimately a failed coach because he coached for 27 years, only got 4 premierships. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's one every 6.5 years.
Yep.
It's not too bad a going. Yes, he had some amazing teams that either bundled out in the prelim or lost the grand final here and there, but I think legacy is a bit of a thrown around. I'm not having a crack at you. You hear the media all the time talking about, a coach's legacy is this, and if he doesn't win it, the guy's won one. There's only probably been 60 other coaches in the history of the game that have won it. That's a pretty exclusive club as it is. So I think if anyone needs to win one, it'd be great if Fags did get it. He's put he put his neck on the line at that club, initially going up there when they were a bit of a basket case.
Yep. And
he's now put this list together with the club that's been challenging for the last 5 years, let's face it. They've been really, really at the top end of the tree. And it would be nice for him to be able to walk away from that and go, you know what, I have got one, and this is great. And the players can say, even if it's been, even if it's taken us 5 or 6 years, we've done something that very few have done as well. So I think legacy stuff and all the rest of it, if you're a premiership coach, you're a premiership coach. It's all there is to it.
Yep.
And it's a shame Kenny Hinkley hasn't got one yet either. He will. I think he'll get one. I honestly think he'll get one. I don't think it'll be at Port, but he will get one.
Yep. Just a couple of other key players. Can you remember any players that have played for both of these clubs?
That are playing on the weekend?
No. That up against, or of all time, any time.
My favourite, Adam Huskus.
Yes, there's one. Yeah.
He wore 39 as well. He wore 39 like the Wiz.
Yeah, right.
Something about that.
We can't forget the great Paul Roos.
He didn't play for Brisbane.
No, but he played for Fitzroy.
Yeah, I know. That'll piss Rusty right off for not calling it Fitzroy.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that was. I remember. I was only a kid at the time when that transfer happened. I was 17, and you see overseas sports stars, if they transfer to a rival club, that you get shirts burned and effigies put up in the streets and stuff like that. Paul Roos was just, his name was absolute mud at Fitzroy, and it was a shame because he was trying to flog a dead horse for about 5 or 6 years prior, and probably even more than that before he left. He had to go. I mean, Lynchy went, Gary Pert had gone. Roosie was just fighting a losing battle. He knew the club was about to fold pretty much. So, he was he's still Fitzroy's best player since Bernie Quinlan for me. Bernie was the best player. I reckon Roosie took over that mantle until they folded. So, he was in their team of the century as their centre-half back, vice-captain, I think, behind Kevin Murray. Just an absolute... What an absolute legend of the club he was at Fitzroy. And what he did for Sydney, my God.
Yep.
He was his last 2 years he was playing off 0 legs almost, but he was still getting the best out of himself. So he wouldn't have been F at Sydney? I think he might have.
Oh, he would have had to have.
He might have.
Very surprised if he didn't. So let's rename the game, the Roos Cup. We can't give it to Kappa, can we? The Wiz. And Richard Osborne's another one that followed us on the path. 4
clubs? Fitzroy and Collingwood on top of those 2?
Yeah, and there's got to be a few more. But unfortunately, let's touch on there's always a couple of not tragic circumstances, but one of those ones that has to, there's always one that misses out, unfortunately. And there's a couple in amongst both of these clubs. And we heard the news today that Callum Mills, one of the skippers, has been ruled out with a hamstring injury. That's an interesting call because he kind of got through training and they just weren't convinced. So a few days out now. It's just an interesting call that he wouldn't have been named as an emergency potentially. Let's see if he could get up. What's your thoughts on that, Lovey?
Best case scenario, he could have played him as the sub. Maybe he comes on in the 3rd. But the problem is the way the subs are played at the moment, they're designed to have an impact on the game.
Yep.
And if he goes down with his hammy within the first 5 or 10 minutes, they're down to 3 on the bench as opposed to 4. And if the opposition has even yet to put their sub on, 5 essentially. So I understand why. I think, and Horse was burnt in 2022 when he played Sam Reid injured. I think, look, he played a couple of players in 2012 that had injuries, but they won the premiership. But I think in 12 years on from now, from a fitness perspective, we've kind of, I guess, advanced and progressed from that decade, if you like. So I think, I think he had to miss. It's about 3 days short of what they would call a safe sort of period for a hamstring strain.
Yeah.
But to go, that guy, since he stuffed his shoulder on Mad Monday, he just hasn't been able to get his body right. So it's kind of just, unfortunately, that's his lot for 2024. It's tragic. Yeah, it's bad luck. I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. But
yeah, look, they'll be.
And when it's your captain, it's even tougher when it's your captain. But he's held himself together really well. You saw it last weekend when they won. I think he's in a reasonable headspace. He's had 2 weeks to contemplate missing. So,
yep.
Interesting.
Yep. And the flip side of that, Oscar McInerney popped his shoulder out twice in that game. Enormous loss for Brisbane.
That was brutal.
Loss. Oh, yeah, it was. The first one was brutal enough, let alone taped up and out there and doing an amazing job for his team. And it happens again. It must be super loose and tender. In amongst that, he would have been a sore boy during the week. But Darcy Fort gets a chance to come in and have an impact. And I think, very much that first hands on the ball is a big one.
Yeah.
And if we can nullify Grundy, he obviously does his job. He doesn't need to win the contest. I think he gets Grundy around the ground. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? That first hands on the ball, critical. So now it's a real flip to the opposition to have to judge, the ball coming out of potentially Grundy's hands instead of McInerney's now.
I actually don't think Brisbane have lost much here. I do think that when Oscar gets the ball, he's pretty damaging if he can get his own ball, which he does sometimes. That's the unpredictability of Oscar. So they might lose a bit of that, but I think Darcy Fort plays a very similar way to Brodie anyway. So yeah, the whole break-even thing, if you can nullify first use, if you can nullify the first use thing for Sydney, then it kind of falls in Brisbane's favour a bit.
Yep. Yeah, so that's going to be one interesting one that pans out. All right, let's touch on a couple of things. The highest goal scorer. Let's pick one for each team. Who have you got in your stable that you think is going to? The big question is, let's start with Brisbane. Is it going to be a straight kicking game, or is it just going to be one of those high pressure, lots of sprayed kicks again that we experienced not long ago?
I'll say what I've said the last 2 games for Brisbane. Kick straight, you win. That's what they did. When they got on their rolls, they kicked straight. They were just deadly accurate. I think Sydney, because they attack so much, they could give you looks. They can give you some pretty good looks inside your own attacking 50. So it'll be on Brisbane to make sure they do the right thing in front of the goals. My highest goal kicker. Can I have a draw? Can I have a share in one team?
Yeah, absolutely you can.
Because I think you're going to have about 3 to 4 players with 3 goals each. I think you're going to have Rayner with 3, Cameron with 3. Joey will probably kick 3 as well as going into the ruck. I think if that's how Brisbane are going to win, that's what they've got to do.
Yeah,
I think they're going to have to share they're going to have to share their goal kicking load. I think anything from Hipwood's just going to be an utter bonus. Unfortunately, at the moment he's just some dead wood. He got into the game a little bit in the third quarter last week, but he had to. And I as a Brisbane person, I begged him to get into the game because he was an absolute liability. I was ready to sub him out at half time. It was just putrid. So for me, I think they're going to get a share of the goals. Sydney, yeah, geez, it's their smalls. Their talls are useless. So, I think Rusty's probably going to be hoping Packer kicks 4 or 5, to be honest. Yeah. And they get a couple from Goulden. Warner gets forward to kick 2 or 3. It's going to be pretty similar. Both teams are going to be pretty similar the way they get their goals, I reckon. It's not going to be talls. It'll be the smalls that run them up once the ball hits that nice, firm, hard deck. So I don't think Taylor Evans is playing with Berkey. But
I don't think you're going to get your wish there, Berkey.
No.
Sadly.
No.
But he is right on that one with Ashcroft. Geez, what an excitement machine. Great to have have those kids in there doing.
I wonder what
great things.
Ashcroft is playing for the Norm Smith.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
I reckon he's got to be in the 20s. He'd have to be in the 20s, almost the 30s. So
yeah. All right, let's pick a goal kicker for the Swans. I've got I know you touched on a couple there with Papley having to kick a few. I reckon I'm just going to zero in on Joel Amati, and I reckon that's his now. Right,
I knew
now
you
is his
would.
big moment because he has proven.
You like a tall forward.
I do like a tall forward, and I think it's going to be the answer given what he can do with the footy. Not so many weeks ago, he kicked 5+, so he's got it in him. The question, and on that big ground, if you can continue to do what they do and they spread very wide and they get right out there, I think they'll drag defenders out and leave a clear path through the middle for him. So I reckon he's the key there. But if nothing else, he just needs to run his defender everywhere and take another defender out of the mix and make sure that it's a really good opportunity for their smalls. If it's the Ben Brown factor almost, if he doesn't get it, you've got to touch it and get it down and get those excitement machines onto it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But you don't want their tall forwards getting too far up the ground either, because they're not great defensively.
Yep.
McLean and Amati aren't that good defensively. They're a bit like Hipwood.
Yep.
So you make room, you create space for a tall forward to come out of the square, I guess, if you like. But you don't want to be out of position if you're there for tall forwards, because they don't get back quick enough for one, and two, if the ball does get turned over, then I'm using my teammate who's one of their opponents every day of the week to get the ball out of defence every time.
Yep. All right, let's get a result, and then we'll talk Norm Smith.
Result.
So before we give the final result, let's go back to halftime. We've done this progressively as we've discussed in amongst this final series, and for the first time we've touched on what's the score or what's the margin, who's in front at halftime. How do you think it's going to pan out in that first half?
You know what? Warm weather, great skills, but I've got the Lions at 4 goals 8, 32. Sydney at 7 goals 6, 48.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go against that because I actually think it's going to be a very similar feel. A goal in it by the end, but not a convincing goal by any stretch of the imagination. Straight kicking, anything could turn around.
That's the half timey.
Yeah, and then to be honest, I'd go to the pub at half time. I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother with Katy Perry, to be perfectly honest.
No.
The ridiculous part is they can't even decide a set list at the moment. There's some incredible bands in and around Australia that we've got absolute icons. They bring Katy Perry out here and they can't even work the deal out before she gets here. And now she's got the classic threatening to pull the pin because they can't decide which songs they want to sing. It's blatantly bloody obvious, mate. She's just about to release an album. She's going to want to put one or two of those in. No one wants to hear them. Only play the hits or get off, right? It's like Kiss playing a new song now. Mate, no one wants to hear it.
I keep saying it. They keep bringing this entertainment out. AFL was not built for musical entertainment. It never has been, and it never will be. And the crowd, the type of crowd that goes to these events, even though there's a corporate feel to it on Grand Final day, even they don't want to really – they're not going to the football to see that bullshit, right, at halftime.
Yeah.
They're there to watch football.
Yep.
And – if you're going to do anything musically for the football at the grand final, find the most football-relating musician or band or whatever you can think of. Unfortunately, whether people like it or not, that's pub rock. Footy's all about the pub.
Here's a thought. What has worked around the stadiums at Brisbane, at Port Adelaide, to name two, and I'm sure they should try it somewhere else if they haven't. But the classic goal, the precursor song for Port Adelaide before they run out. Then you go up to Brisbane and they got a goal, one for each goal, which I think's a little bit overkill. But why not at halftime play 10 of the greatest Australian songs that You all right? And just get the crowd up and about. We don't even need anyone out there. You just need to play it through the speakers. Everyone's amongst it. To me, you got to try something.
I want to know one thing. I'm not a massive AC/DC fan, but why haven't they been on there?
Oh, they obviously can't work a deal there, mate. That's the bottom line. And I don't think it'll ever happen now.
No.
All right. Just before we're going to get a tip. So that was halftime. All right. Let's go with halftime. Late night fever's back. Let's get a halftime result. What's the result at halftime?
Well, that's not your car anymore, and you're on mute.
You're on mute. Come back. Get the boy off.
Oh, Christ.
Righto. Let's bring him back up. Good start, cuz. You're going well. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. I'm actually on said date. And she has, she would like to come on, but at a later date. She told me, so that's all good. You can probably hear some laughs in the background.
There's a bit of this. We've got this going on, have we? We're not certain if there's anyone there, cuz.
You know the worst thing about it is I actually showed her the comments that you made to me earlier, and she actually laughed and enjoyed the comments, which was so.
Then we know we've got it. Then we know we've got a keeper. There it is, cuz. Phone home, mate. Tell us a score at halftime, mate.
I actually think Brisbane will come out of the blocks 62-42 at 62-52 at halftime. I think the Swans will run over them and win. Are we waiting? Do you want the final margin now as well?
Yeah, you might as well now.
Swans early. I've gone early. Look at what Lovey.
Oh, so many lines.
Yeah.
I know, you've got so many lines and so many times.
So what was your final result?
I reckon the Swans will win probably by about 21 points.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, well, just to let everyone out there now, Cuz is not accepting any friend requests, just to be sure. But just keep it in mind that there's Cuz. He could fall asleep, so anything.
He's
can
a good
happen.
hugger. Oh, he's a good hugger.
Is there any chance that you actually have access to my Facebook account because you see more of the photos than I do?
Yeah, but here's the word of the night. This sums up Cuz for tonight.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Well, we've got to get it in, Cuz. Well, good luck, mate. Enjoy the night. Thanks for joining us.
Boys.
Who's your Norm Smith? Who's your Norm Smith, Cuz, before you head off into the moonlight?
I think he's probably going to win the medal for the finals player as well, the Gary Ayres medal. I think Heaney.
Righto.
All right.
I think Heaney. Love you, boys. I mean that seriously. Love you, heaps.
Lots of kisses.
There, boys.
Enjoy. Go easy on it. Righto. Welcome back, Cuz.
Wanted to keep it secret. Okay, fine.
Probably should have ran probably should have run a Cuz's Classic right then and there, but anyway, we move on. All right, let's get a margin, and who wins? Then we'll go Norm Smith.
Yeah, so I had 4-8 to 7-6 at half time, but I think Brisbane win this by 13 points. 16-13, 109 to 14-12, 96.
Yeah, okay.
I think Brisbane come over the top like they've been doing. I think they back themselves in, and they get it done. When you're on a roll, you're on a roll. And especially the way they've been doing it, all three of their finals, they've been behind initially. They've decided, well, we're not putting up with it, and they just keep coming back. They keep going at their opponent and at them and at them and at them.
Yep.
Now the GWS one was freakish, but last week's result for them after halftime against Geelong was because they persisted. They changed things up and they worked together as a group. And they'll do that again. I don't think they'll be worried if they're behind at halftime. I think they just get it done. To be honest. So, and my Norm Smith, I'm going to keep backing him in. I know my Ashcroft is my roughie, but I just think it's set for Cam Rayner. It really is. If he jags 4 and 20 plus, they win the game. It's that simple. It's a Dusty Martin. It's a Dusty Martin 2019 type effort.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good. Very good. I'm going to do a little flashback, and I've got a funny feeling that this is going to happen exactly what happened in round 19. Brisbane, 11 goals, 13. So plenty of kicking, plenty of opportunities. 79 actually defeat Sydney, 11-11, 77 by
Wow.
2 points. And Rusty, boy, are we going to get some texts from Rusty. If, in fact, we won't get any texts. He will totally go missing for a little while because he will be very disappointed, as you would be. The good part is, Rusty, you get to enjoy it, mate, because you are there. We would love to be there.
Right.
Love to be there on this day. And I'm tipping the Zork. As much as I'm not a massive fan, I think Zorko is a pivotal player, pivotal player in this space for this game in particular. I think he's the energy man for Brisbane. But I think if Sydney happen to win, I want the Pap. I want Papley to get it done. I think he's a good character. You either love him or hate him.
You know what would happen if Pat got Norm Smith? He would dead set try and do a Peter Dean, like Peter Dean did in '95, and try and jump off the whole podium. I think, in fact, I think when Peter Dean did that, they almost got rid of that front pole, just because of that. So, but yeah, look, he's good for footy, isn't he? I mean, I hate him, but he's good for footy. And so did Ginnivan. I haven't warmed to him, but I understand why he's important for football because you're losing personalities as the year goes on. We're getting more and more, woke with can't do this, can't do that. So, to have the Papleys, the Guineas of the world, why not?
Yeah, and speaking of woke and the interesting space, talk about the stand rule, right? The most hated rule for me in the game. There's a lot of this going on at the moment, which to me totally defies that. Good old Harris. He's a character. But
you know what? That should be 50 metres because he's not standing. I mean, if I'm going to be woke, let's mate, that's not standing. That's 50 metres. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, what a shit rule. It's a dumb rule.
Correct.
I don't like it.
Well, the ridiculous part is you only need to stand back a couple of metres. You're declared not on the stand rule, so then you can do whatever you want. So it's kind of a little bit ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. And I think they've either got to take it, embrace it, and do it properly, or just get rid of the thing. Right? It doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm for getting rid of it totally. Honestly, I really am. If they want to move on or go around on an angle, 45 angle, or whatever it is, whatever they used to do. Best way to combat that, okay, so then lead into the space they've just opened up for you and kick it 30 metres forward.
Correct.
To where it wasn't that prohibitive.
No, not really.
You know what I mean? It wasn't that prohibitive. And I think
not the 360 game.
Between that and this whole tackling and the head hitting the ground thing, just there's a lot that needs to be worked through over the summer. And that Dylan and Kane aren't the right people to do that. So for me, I think there needs to be some proper football people in that room organising what these rules need to look like. I get that you don't want concussions, but I lost a bit of respect for McCluggage last week when he won that free kick where he faked the Dangerfield tackle when his head hit the ground.
Yep.
As soon as he got the whistle, he was up and he fucking smiling and laughing. It's like, well, mate, you've made a mockery of what is a very sensitive topic of which Brayshaw just spoke about the other night at the Brownlow. And that if you want proper research and everything and funding put into it, don't start doing that sort of bullshit in a game of football. Because what will happen, it's the boy who cried wolf stuff, right? A legitimate head injury occurs, yet there'd be no free kick paid, there'd be no nothing, and the umpire and it'd be called play. It might even be called play on if they do it too often. So McCluggage, poor form in that particular instance. Great guy, great footballer, but none of that, mate. We can't have that.
Yep. You're on notice, McCluggage, from Lovey.
Look out.
Otherwise, beware of the rant. All right. That sums up the night of where we're going to leave it. Good to see another 20-minute show turned into an hour. You laughed at the fact that I was going to call it a 20-minute show.
Never happens, mate.
It's interesting. One game and we had still plenty to talk about, and only two of us on here.
Yeah, no, thank God I got some viewpoints in instead of that Hawthorn moron. Adam, that was great.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's listening in. Oh, he's got a headache, has he? So
Yeah.
why didn't Adam get on? Because Hawthorn's no longer in the contest? Is that the real reason?
I thought he might have gone on and told us about why Sam Mitchell didn't get Coach of the Year and all those kind of things. But anyway,
I tell you what, because he is a scumbag. Because he's a shit bloke.
Aye.
So there you go. Yeah, no, it's just disappointing a guy like Adam's not on here tonight. Anyway, we've made it a good show. Well, I hope we have, mate.
we have. Hopefully, someone's enjoyed tuning in and chatting about this. We've got a mental health show coming up in a couple of weeks, so I invite everyone to kind of jump on that. We've got a very interesting guest, a Melbourne musician, who's going to come on and talk about his journey and where he's kind of got to and the road of rejection and what that can do to you. So we've all been rejected at some point on something, and it's about how you handle that. So that'll be a great chat in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it's an interesting one. We just touched on a couple of comments from Berkey. It's a violent femmes number for Cuz tonight. Big hands tonight is going to go down for. It might all of a sudden be about big hands on Saturday too. So let's see who takes the grabs, who kicks the goals, and may the best team win. And God, we're jealous. We wish it was us. So, righto, Lovey. Till then, tomorrow, no, it's Friday night. We've got Storm, just to touch on. Melbourne Storm versus the Roosters, first versus third, down at Amy Park. God hope the Storm get through there, but Roosters haven't knocked them off for quite some time, but you never know down there. Storm should be too good. And then we've got Saturday, the Panthers versus the Sharks. So straight after the AFL, you can go and have a couple of pots and then get back for the Panthers and the Sharks for second versus for fourth. So you've got the top four teams ending up in the prelim there, which is really interesting.
Just real quick, though, I think the third and fourth team, I've never known a more weaker third and fourth team against the first, second team. You know what I mean? Like, according to the bookies, these look to be two pretty lopsided preliminary finals, but we know what prelim finals can do in any code. So, look,
it's all set up.
I'm a history man, mate. I think the Storm are kind of lucky the Panthers actually won their first week final, because that would have meant that you played them on this weekend. I reckon that probably could have been a bit of a rock in the ground, if you know what I mean. But it's not. I'm a history man, mate. Look, I'm a St George man. I've got nothing against Penrith. If they were to win their fourth in a row, I think that's just absolutely that's history in your face right there for me. So I hope the Panthers get the fourth one in a row. Two good finals. I think the Roosters are coming pretty hard. So I hope for your sake the Storm get up, but I do want the Panthers to win a fourth, because I love history. That'd be great.
Yep. Yes. So obviously from my end, I hope there's a big denial in that and doesn't pan out like that. But may the best team wins, and I think it's awesome. Really look forward to a sold out Amy Park, a sold out SCG as well. It's going to be really exciting. Really exciting. Sorry, a Core Stadium in Sydney for that other game. So it's great to see full stadiums, no matter what the case may be. So sellouts always questionable. The AFL Grand Finals apparently a sellout. Sadly, you start to see empty seats at some point, but denying some people access. But that's just kind of the way it is now. So I look forward to enjoying the game, like you will, Lovey. Maybe we'll talk, touch on it. Maybe next week we'll talk, maybe a quick wrap on the NRL Grand Final and see who ends up getting there. We might preview a couple of things there, and hopefully it's a Storm. We can celebrate a win, but let's see. Enjoy your week, mate. Thanks for jumping on.
Good luck to the two clubs. Good luck to hopefully the supporters of both teams have fun, because it's a fun day if your team's in it. It's awesome. It's amazing. So just enjoy yourselves. Have a drink. Don't do too much. Don't drink too much. Look after yourselves. Look after those around you on the day. Just have a lot of fun with it, and let's hope we have a good, fair grand final. No injuries, and let's may the best team win.
Absolutely. And tomorrow night, if you're out and about, anyone out there, an incredible gig with Queenie, a great show friend here, who's going to come on and talk about her new album in the next week or so. So that'll be great. We've let them rehearse. The band's going to be super tight. Some special guests, Hogwash and Millie Strange. Make sure you. This is almost sold out. So another great, exciting night, Friday night in Melbourne. So if you're out and about, Northcote Social Club's where you're at. Catch you soon, Lovey.
You too, mate. Take it easy.
Great to catch up with Lovey once again. Cuz, go and do your thing, mate. I'm sure we're going to hear about it. There we go. Here we go with just to leave that poster up to finish the night. Catch you soon. Get out there amongst it.